we have another panel. We have, trade barriers are going up around the internet, and the internet is fragmenting. There's national firewalls and all sorts of issues. But right now we've got a group of builders who have routed around fragmentation using blockchain. And we're going to hear from them now. Do I have Will Foxley from CoinDesk to moderate this panel? So as he gets set, how about we just go ahead and get started? We'll go around and have you guys introduce yourself. And once Will pops in, we'll let him take over and lead.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mona Elisa. I am the co-founder and I was the co-founder and CEO of Melon Protocol, which built V1 of the Melon Protocol. The Melon Protocol is a decentralized asset management protocol. I think the first ever decentralized asset management protocol to go to mainnet. But we're also the first company in history, in DeFi history, to decentralize governance. So we decentralized our governance in February 2019, handed over control to a consortium like DAO, and now there's two or three different, three or four exciting projects building on Melon, including my new company, but also two or three others. And we're now working towards V2. I will stop there. I'm sure there's time to go into some of these points in detail later, but I'll hand over to, I don't know, Jun, is your audio working?
Yeah, yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Jun Li from Ontology, founder of Ontology. Ontology is public blockchain and more focused on decentralized identity and decentralized data exchange. And based on that, we built a reputation or credit score product to support DeFi, of course, and other kind of application to build a bridge to the real world and the blockchain world.
Hey, Jun, Mona, I just got on. So it's Will Foxley here with CoinDesk. Little internet issues, but like that's expected in pandemic time, right? So I think Eden just jumped on here too. Eden, can you hear us?
I can hear you, yeah. Can you hear me?
Awesome, awesome. Okay, you haven't introed yourself yet, have you?
No, I haven't. So I'm Eden Dhaliwal. I'm the Global Managing Director for Conflux Network. And Conflux is a high-performance, developer-friendly Layer 1 blockchain. Our project's been led by Turing Award winner Dr. Andy Yao, and we're kind of a lead advocate for public permissionless blockchains in China, having been the only state-endorsed public blockchain in China.
Ooh, well, we're gonna dig into that in a little bit. I think, Mona, we're going to start with you just at the top with some questions about, well, just kind of like giving the picture for this talk. We're talking about blockchain developer culture, specifically in the Splinternet. So that's the balkanization of the internet. We see these trade barriers go up. We see developers not being able to work together. And that's only been reinforced with the pandemic. So Mona, from your experience, what's been some successes for your project over the pandemic, and maybe some failures also as you guys learn to work from home?
Yeah, so actually, like, small confession, we always worked from home. So we have been remote for over a year now, or over a year now. And so I suppose we sort of had somewhat of a head start in that respect. But the pandemic has kind of, I think, stopped us in other ways, in sort of, we used to have a quarterly offsite where the team got together and, discussed some of the bigger topics and the bigger issues. We, sometimes used to meet up and work together, although we're quite globally spread out. So that has been a bit more challenging because I think, generally speaking, there are, as remote as you get, it's good for teams to meet together and to kind of discuss some of the bigger topics in a less formal environment. So that's kind of the negative and the challenges. But on the positive, I feel like actually the pandemic has enabled us to focus more than ever because there's fewer distractions. Once we kind of, for those who had kids or for those who, had sort of challenges to deal with, once that initial, those initial problems were sorted out, I feel like actually, the sort of less travel, less conferences, less commuting, less, all of that is actually conducive to more available work hours per day and more focus. And so we've actually found it very productive, I have to say.
Okay. Well, Jun and Eden, I want to hop over to you for that question. But first, I want to intro James. I think he just came on. I think Kim and I were kind of stuck in a digital purgatory there for a second. So, James, can you tell us a little bit about your firm and just intro us to yourself? Can you hear us, James? I think he bounced back off. Okay, that's fine. Jim, we're going to move over to you. Can you tell us a little bit about some successes from the work from home strategy? Maybe just like what's been the experience for your developers and from your team?
Yeah, successful strategies, the situation we build actually, we use or try to use a lot of tools and build a platform and process. And actually they have a lot of good tools. China have a lot of internet tools and internet platform. And we also use a lot of international tools to build a global cooperation. So almost all things can be done online. The unsuccessful is, we find a strange thing is even the video call discussion, they will not got a good idea or new idea come from. When people back to the office in the same meeting room, a lot of new idea coming on. I don't know why. It's stranger. Why on the video they cannot? Okay, we just do some routine work, but back to the office, a lot of new idea and a lot of deeply discussion coming from. So I think people still need face-to-face. So we need that.
Okay. Eden, hopping over to you for the same question. What's been the work from home experience? Some successes, maybe some failures, or some learning points?
Yes, I think, a challenge for us is that we were sort of becoming a more distributed team over time. That was the plan. And so we were sort of in the middle of that process as COVID was happening. And so coordinating those efforts with new teams that are sort of developing in Africa and North America. We even had an office that's been sort of developing in Shanghai, coordinating that and then coordinating the communication between teams in different places while this is happening was kind of a big challenge for us, particularly when, you have some tools, let's say outside of or inside of China, like Slack, that aren't sort of regularly used. So communication coordination was definitely a big challenge for us. But I think in the end, working, from home became quite, efficient. And I think the biggest sort of adaptation for us was just really reinventing what the workday looked like, right? So with time zone differences and then also just different sort of work routines.
Okay, so I do want to get into Chainlink and talk about how this DeFi Lego, as we call it, is kind of fitting into the bigger picture of all your guys' projects. But Eden, it's interesting, and maybe Jun, you can speak about this. And then Mona, I'm actually not sure where your team is based. But Eden, I want to start with you with Conflux. Just you guys are working with the Chinese state government, and then you're also a private entity. So can you tell us a little bit about how your team has been working kind of along, like straddling those two lines in the midst of the pandemic and how the internet is kind of breaking down along these lines and how blockchain can help that?
Sure. I mean, we're a public permissionless network, so we're an open network. Yes, we have a state endorsement, and what that endorsement means for us is that we're kind of in almost like the advocate for public networks in China, and so our job is to obviously demonstrate the value of public blockchains, and we've been working with the government to kind of find some use cases that are that would sort of demonstrate that value. But then our endorsement's actually from the Shanghai state government, which is the financial center of Shanghai. And so over time, we're hoping to kind of introduce the benefits of DeFi, new ways of sort of, lending, borrowing, etc. And obviously Chainlink is a big part of that DeFi stack, right? Decentralized oracles are, obviously going to have a lot of places to be integrated into those applications. We've been, working closely with Chainlink for a little while. We've actually built not a DeFi application, but kind of an SMS use case using Chainlink, which is really interesting for emerging markets. And so Chainlink's going to have a big place in DeFi. I think it's going to have a big place in the spaces that we're playing.
Jun, kind of hopping over to you. So we've seen over the last 6 to 9 months, just trade barriers go up. Maybe the most headline top or point for this is TikTok being broken down, or perhaps being broken down in front of us. So as a blockchain developer house, how does Ontology work into that?
It's actually past 3 months or 6 months. We already still achieved 3 important things. One is in the blockchain infrastructure part. We have released a new version, the version 2. They have a multiple smart contract mechanism. They can use different smart contract mechanism and language for that. And also we improved the more decentralized for the governance for public blockchain. And of course, improving performance as well. And in a second level, second achievement is about the decentralized protocol, like decentralized identity and decentralized data exchange. They are already built very complex already. Currently on public blockchain, like the Ontology already finished a complex vision. Already it's follow the W3C standards and do a lot of things. Besides that, we also output the technical to the other blockchain like Ethereum and the Neo protocol and the Scylla and more are coming. So you will find that W3C, lots of blockchains DID solution is private by the Ontology. They will be linked together or interaction together, become a DID cross chain, and they will support more. And another more important thing is we build a credit-based DeFi project based on our ID and data and reputation credit score. It's called WIN, W-I-N-G, WIN Finance. They will be the first credit-based DeFi product, and it will be launched in 2 weeks. This kind of small innovation can bring DeFi more close to the traditional financial service. That is mainstream of financial service. I believe DeFi have a lot of opportunity and the potential for this part. Yeah.
Thanks for that. Mona, I want to get to you in a second, but I think we have James here finally. So James, are you here? Can you hear us?
Yes. Sorry
Awesome.
about the network.
No worries. That fits into the topic quite well. We're talking about the Splinternet, which is the balkanization of the internet across different lines. And I think part of that is just like we're all working across different time zones. That's a very real factor. So James, can you intro us into your firm, what you guys are doing? And our first question, so we'll just kind of loop back to it really quick for you, is what was your experience working through the pandemic and your team's experience working through the pandemic?
Yeah, I think first of all, we were working on the core technology developing or innovation on blockchain, as well as privacy preserving algorithms plus AI. I believe there's a 3 wheel which could leverage the blockchain into the real business usage, can create value. So that's a three like main area we're working on. During the pandemic, we found it's a good chance to really break down the team to pieces and working distributedly. So we are building up this distributed system on a distributed culture, source code managed on GitHub, and discussion managed by the Slack or all this kind of tools. So it was a pretty good chance for me to reshape the IT team, and it works pretty good. Deliver on time, everything looks fine. So was a good experience.
Can you give us a little bit about what PlatON does?
PlatON. So there are three things we are doing. PlatON as a public chain ecosystem. We try to build up this on top of the data value, so make the data valuable. So how to make the data valuable? The fundamental stuff was the private computation. So we use the cryptographic algorithms like secure multi-party computing and HE, all this kind of stuff to encrypt and protect the data. So before, I would say in the old age, data is just as simple as an information carrier. But nowadays is the data asset. When it reaching to certain amount, there are extreme valuable things can reproduced it or generated from those data. So how to protect those data to become a real data asset and get blockchain to do its work, right? Blockchain actually is a distributed ledger technology. It's a ledger, very strong, very good at the settlement clearing to bring the trust, etc. So all of this, we try to using, first of all, the privacy preserving algorithm protect the data. Second, to use the AI technology. We have a Rosetta framework, open source on GitHub, so which can generate extra value by on top of privacy preserved data, and then all the settlement clearing will be done on the blockchain settlement system. So that's what PlatON is aiming to. There will be a data exchange market.
Well, we'll hop into that last part maybe when we loop around back to Chainlink. But Mona, I want to get to you really quick. Can you tell us about, I don't know if your firm is in the United States or is it elsewhere?
Well, actually, so we're very distributed. So I'm sitting in Switzerland right now, but we're literally all over the world. And I think we're sat in pretty much every single time zone between us.
Is that a concern in the near future? Have you guys thought about that? About just different trade walls going up, or different ways so your team can't work together?
Not so much. No, we don't. I don't think we're too concerned about it. Although I think we probably need to start thinking about it. But generally speaking, we're just kind of assuming things will go back to, things will go back to normal. Maybe not too soon, but like soon enough. Mm-hmm. And I think that we're sort of, failing that, I guess we'll sort of find alternatives. I think that, I think we've found ways to cope so far, and we're quick at adapting. We're quick at, adapting to change. We're quite nimble. We're not a very big team. We're small enough that we can move fast if we need to change or adapt to something.
Well, I want to hop into this Chainlink question because that is the topic of the panel, or that's the whole point of this whole conference. So, James, maybe we'll move back to you. Just kind of talking about how Chainlink fits into the tech stack that you're developing. And so when we're talking about Chainlink, we're talking about price oracles, which is just piping data over blockchain networks. So maybe tell us a little bit about how Chainlink fits into your product.
Yes, sure. I think Chainlink is a very valuable system. It could contribute to existing ecosystem. So PlatON as well will benefit from, for example, the Oracle price feeding, because all the settlement clearing of our data asset, how to measure the value. At the end, we have to do the settlement clearing, but the price need to be we have a secure reference price provided by a certain system, which can be verifiable, trustworthy. So all the settlement could be done on a consensus, everyone agreed mode. So I do believe this Oracle driven DeFi capability will help PlatON ecosystem grow better. There are a bunch of chances we could really cooperate with each other.
Okay, Eden, I want to throw the question to you as well. Chainlink? How does it fit into Conflux?
Well, we have a commitment to helping enable the DeFi ecosystem. Obviously, decentralized oracles securing price feeds is critical for any DeFi application, and so I can imagine Chainlink being a part of several innovations. And so we're working with our dev communities to kind of like create these DeFi Legos, introduce components like Chainlink. So we're actively sort of integrating Chainlink into our discussions with our dev communities, and also with some of the incubation that we're looking to kind of do.
Okay, Jun, I want to throw the same question over to you. We're kind of doing a round robin here. So how does Chainlink fit into Ontology and the products that you guys are developing?
Yeah, we already built a relationship, a partnership with Chainlink for a long time, and already integrated together. I think the Oracle is important mechanism or fundamental mechanism for currency blockchain world. Especially you can see the DeFi and the price information. And I think the next phase, more important things will coming based on the Chainlink. For example, link more data from the real world to the digital world or blockchain world. This is important bridge to link together and use the contract or the other kind of decentralized mechanism and link to the data, different data source. So we are looking forward to Chainlink, provide more products, and we can build more kinds of decentralized application based on Chainlink. This kind of fundamental model.
Okay. Oh, there we go. A little static coming over. But Mona, I want to throw it to you lastly, just especially with the wealth management aspect of Melon Protocol. So I'm assuming price information is pretty important in that situation. So how does Chainlink fit into your product?
Yeah, you nailed it. I mean, we're in the asset management business. The Melon Protocol, amongst other things, it needs to calculate the NAV or the price of the fund on a daily basis and publish it on chain. Ultimately, what we're doing is basically empowering the long tail of fund managers, the small to medium-sized funds that want to build the track record on chain. So the reliability of that data is really important to us. We need to make sure that A, we can trust the data, B, that it's reliable, and C, that it can't be manipulated easily, which we've seen, on a few occasions in the last year with DeFi. Most of the attacks have been because of vulnerable price feeds. So, from our perspective, we're looking to find a price feed that is decentralized, reliable, and that can scale. And Chainlink offers those kind of properties. So it makes it a very interesting proposal to think about integrating it as a price feed into the Melon Protocol. So we're really excited about that.
So I want to kind of get back to the main point of the conversation, which is just the Splinternet and how trade barriers and other foreign relations are causing the internet kind of to break up. And so that's the whole point of Web3, and a lot of the products that you guys are building as blockchain engineers are going to be used for Web3 ostensibly. One comment that we had in the general chat that I thought was kind of interesting is they just said blatantly that COVID is speeding up the rate of crypto adoption, which I'd like to see if you guys agree with that or not. Do you think it's maybe even set it back? I think Eden, maybe can we go to you for that?
Yeah, I mean, it seems that way. I think I think we've got a lot of sort of unstable economies right now. We've got a lot of money that's being printed. I think we're sort of in very uncertain, volatile times, and I think we have a lot of both institutional and retail investors that are looking at where they could kind of almost opt out of the markets, right? And so I think crypto is providing a wide variety of new opportunities and safe havens, and I think people are also starting to learn and understand that crypto is enabled by blockchain technology, basically a new Web3 that's forming, and it's more than just money. It's also a future internet, and so it's a way to kind of invest and buy into that internet. And so I would generally agree with that. I do think people are shifting towards crypto.
Jun, what do you think?
Yeah, I think currently the crypto world and the real world is still seems a two-world currently, and but I think the next phase, the more bridge will be built up, and I think the crypto world or blockchain world will impact the real world more and more, and will reform currently business model and the cooperation model between peoples. So I believe finally blockchain will become the mainstream infrastructure for our real world, real business, even real organization. Yeah.
Okay, Mona, I'm going to go to you for the same question. Is crypto adoption being sped up or slowed down?
So that's a great question. I've been wondering that too. I think the answer is yes. But, for us, there's a couple of things that happened. So in February, we made a big new release, which at a protocol level and at an interface level, which made Melon Protocol for the first time much, much easier to use than it ever had been for a user. And so since that point, we've started seeing growth really accelerate on the network. I think our assets under management have 11x since that point. And we often asked ourselves,
that's not bad.
We often ask ourselves, is it because of our new release, or is it because of COVID and people are just at home, or is it because of all of this QE and people are like fed up with holding fiat in the world of QE and just migrating to crypto? And it's a really interesting question. I don't really have an answer with any certainty, but I suspect it's a mixture of all three.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have. James, I want to go to you for the same question. We got about 2 minutes left.
I will explain very quick. I'm still a very strong believer on this blockchain technology, even though the internet will be broken to pieces in a Splinternet. But what we could do is, for example, we have this verifiable computation technology, so we could build a very, I would say, luxury node versus and a weak network. So we reduce the network communication by a very luxury node there with a verifiable computation. Then the blockchain will keep grow, and it's a distributed innovating community. So no one could block this one. I'm a strong believer on this one. It will become better, and there are tons of new technology we could use.
Well, there you have it. Eden, James, Jun, Mona, thanks for joining us today, talking about the Splinternet and how Chainlink fits into that. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, William.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.